Hello friends and welcome back to the C.Gars channel. Today I'm once again joined by Cally Humphrey of Tor. Thank you so much for joining me today, Cally.
My pleasure.
So we've talked about a few different brands under the Tor portfolio, but today we're going to be focusing on the brand of My Father Cigars. Can you share the humble beginnings of My Father Cigars and how it has evolved over the years?
So, going way back to 1950, Jose Garcia, also known as Don Pepin Garcia, I have to remember this right.
A lot of names.
He was born, and and apparently when he was 11, he actually rolled his first cigar.
Okay.
So it's been a lifelong passion, not just like a business goal. And so they've got two factories. Actually, they've got one which they opened in 2009, which is in Esteli, Nicaragua, and that's like the Garcia family factory. So the My Father Cigars. And they also have a factory in Little Havana in Miami, which was an earlier one where they started everything, basically.
Oh, that's cool.
So the one in Miami is actually very small, and they run like boutique brands out there. So they've got 12 rollers that have been trained by Don Pepin himself. But the one that they've got in Esteli, they have 300 rollers, and that's what's creating this My Father portfolio that we're smoking today.
Wow, it's quite a difference in numbers there.
Yeah, massive, but they're on a much larger scale. Obviously there's more space and they've got the factory in the fields, and yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Jose was actually born in Cuba in 1950, and even though his cigars are, they're using Ecuadorian tobacco, they're using Nicaraguan tobacco, he still uses the techniques that he would have learned in Cuba. So that's kind of one of their USPs essentially. So they're making cigars that are like very robust, the construction is great, as you can see, and they're very strong, they've got a nice finish, so they're using techniques that he has learned from a very young age, which is followed through. I mean, what are we now, 2023, and he was born in 1950, so a long time. So it's no wonder that they're now receiving awards after awards after awards, and they're a very, very popular blend.
Yeah. I mean, we are currently sitting down sampling the Connecticut range from My Father, and it's a beautiful cigar. It's really interesting to hear how he started from such a young age. I mean, starting at the age of 11, I could barely make my own dinner. So it's crazy to me how, a lot of people, when they're younger, they have these dreams and ambitions, but then they sort of evolve on that going forward, and they change what their dreams are. And but he started off from the age of 11 rolling cigars, and he's continued it throughout these generations. It's
literally, he was almost born to do it. It's bizarre. Like you said, it's his legacy, and I think it does show with the cigars, and not just how they taste, but like the designs of the bands, the actual branding of My Father Cigars is all very rich. There's heritage to it, and obviously that's a lot of the brands we work with at Tor do go back into family businesses and things. So yeah, it's just a very nice, well-rounded brand that, with the story of an 11-year-old rolling a cigar. I mean, I don't think I could roll a cigar.
No, I mean, I don't do it now. So
I've never tried. Maybe I'd be great.
Maybe it's your legacy.
It could be my legacy, but I'm 31, so I'm already like a bit late to the party.
Well, never too late.
Never say never.
Exactly.
If you want to collab, but it's just an incredible story, and it's now going down in the family as well. So like his son's doing it, and I think there's a lot more My Father to come.
It's wonderful. I mean, My Father's arguably one of the biggest cigar brands in the world right now, isn't it? I know more so in America. It's it's like a pinnacle brand there, isn't it? And like you said, they've won so many awards to prove that, which makes it really special. So obviously today we are sampling the Connecticut range.
We are.
What makes these so different? Obviously they use the Connecticut wrapper. But what else goes into it?
So the My Father Connecticut is an extension to the existing My Father and My Father Bijou lines. So the cigar is actually blended by Jose Pepin Garcia and his son Jaime Garcia at the My Father factory in Esteli. It features an Ecuadorian wrapper, Nicaraguan Corojo 99 binder, and Nicaraguan Habano Criollo filler. With the exception of the Ecuadorian wrapper, all of the tobacco actually comes from the Garcia's farms. This cigar also features a very unique aromatic leaf that gives the cigar aromas and flavours, a special fermentation process was actually given to this particular type of tobacco in order for it to release all the aromas and flavours that the Garcias were looking for. So this is a mild to medium cigar with notes of cedar, coca, leather and caramel and hints of honey. I'm definitely getting the honey, I don't know about you, as I'm going into the second, third.
It's very strange you say that because I don't really get honey.
No?
I mean, there's definitely sweetness there, but to me it's a very mature taste, like an oaky, oak wood taste. I'm getting the nuts as well and the leather. But who knows? I mean, I'm not even halfway through yet, so maybe
I'm beating you to it. I think
you are beating me to it.
I've already taken off the second band. Yeah.
But maybe I'll get to that as I get down the cigar. But it's a beautiful blend, and like I said, the visual aspect, the aesthetic is just it's next level. Really is. These really stand out, and I think this is it's a very light-bodied cigar, isn't it?
Yeah, I was actually very pleasantly surprised because my preference with cigars is mild to medium or medium strength. I'm not always into like a full-bodied smoke. I think again you can go way deep into this, but it depends on the situation, the experience you're going through. So yeah, I could probably have a nice full-bodied smoke by the river and it's like summer and do you know what I mean? But when I'm sitting at home or just having a cigar casually like now, I tend to have something that's more mild to medium. And I'm finding this very easy to smoke, so it is classed as a medium strength. But yeah, it's nice and easy and smooth, and like I said, it's not hot, so it's just, you know, you're just getting flavours rather than it just burning.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they've refined this so that a beginner can enjoy it, but also a cigar aficionado can enjoy it just as much.
Yeah, agreed.
And really appreciate the flavour profile and everything to it. Because I feel like when people walk into a humidor and they may see a cigar this big, obviously they've got smaller vitolas, but we're sampling the Toro today.
Yeah.
If they see a cigar this big, they can be quite intimidated sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I turned up, didn't we? We got out the Don Pepin Blue that we'll talk about shortly, and this one, and obviously this one's much bigger in size than that one that just the ones I brought today. And straight away, it was like, oh, okay, we've got a big cigar to talk about today. But it has just been very easy going and easy to smoke, and like I'm now over halfway. So,
and as it is the afternoon now, I feel like that's the perfect time to enjoy it. Yeah,
it's like a nice chill out. You've got an hour. Yeah, I'm really impressed. First time trying it too.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, so you briefly mentioned about the Blue Label line, which me and Billy actually recently reviewed.
Yeah.
So if you guys do want to check that out, the link will be down below. But what sets the Blue Label apart from the other ranges? So
first up, I mean, just out of these two cigars we've got here, there is a full flavoured cigar, and also a Nicaraguan Puro, so 100% Nicaraguan tobacco. And the Don Pepin Garcia Blue Label, that's its official long title, has served as the inspiration for the creation and development of many other My Father lines. So like I said, it's 100% Nicaraguan Puro, and it features an extra oily cinnamon-coloured Corojo Oscuro wrapper, and actually has an average rating of 93 points in Cigar Aficionado magazine.
That's impressive.
It is impressive. I'm yet to try it.
I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, it's My Father, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. So the tasting notes that we've got here, obviously subject to how everyone tastes it, is a zesty notes of leather and cedar with a medley of hot peppers. And they also, for anyone that's a cigar box boffin, come in a cedar-lined cigar box, which is also very beautiful.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It is, yeah. And like the band is completely different on there, so it goes along with the blue theme. There's blue in the band. There's the bottom band. I'm sure there's a posh name for that.
Foot band.
The foot band. It's socks in blue.
I feel like I definitely got the sort of peppery notes to this one. It's very spicy. I think I said to Billy, it's typically with a cigar, it starts off very light and then it gets a bit stronger as you get down, but this one I feel like it's the opposite, so it starts off very peppery and heavy, then it gets lighter as it goes down, which is it is interesting because it feels like you're smoking it from the wrong end.
It starts with a punch. So it probably really appealed to people that like really full-bodied smokes and perhaps are ready for, you know, sit down and you want to smoke a full-bodied cigar.
Yeah.
A bit like what we were talking about. But it's interesting because when I say we, I mean Tor, brought My Father to the UK, that was about 12 years ago now. That was the first line that we brought in.
Okay.
And it done okay, but it wasn't like a world-beating sales all over the place cigar. However, since they've rebranded it, I think we've had it about a month now, maybe. It's just flown off the shelves. So I think, you know, the blend's the same, the cigar is the same, but what's different, I think, which is interesting, is in the last 12 years, how the UK cigar smokers' palates have changed. So if you think 12 years ago, I mean, I dread to think actually how old you were 12 years ago.
If my maths is correct, I would have been 14.
Okay, well, Don Pepin would have been rolling cigars for 3 years at that age, but you wouldn't have been smoking them. But yeah, so, you know, it's very Cuban dominated. The ratio of when you go in a cigar lounge of Cubans and New Worlds would have been very Cuban heavy. But obviously, as we all know, over the last 12 years, things have completely changed. And now, you know, there's a lot more New World smokers, a lot of younger smokers that are perhaps coming into the industry and they're not bothered about straight away going on to Cuban cigars. They're just picking whatever has the fanciest wrapper or whatever the sales guy has told them they'll prefer. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a very well received cigar these days. So yeah, it's just interesting to see how times have changed for the same cigar.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, a lot of places are struggling to get Cuban cigars. It's becoming a lot harder, but not only that, you know, the prices are consistently going up.
Yeah.
So people are looking more towards New World, and I feel like back then, people kind of had this notion that it was Cuban or nothing.
Yeah.
But now that's completely flipped.
Completely flipped. And I think I mean, of course, there's still some people that are very set that they prefer Cuban cigars, and that's fine. It's a bit like wines, isn't it? You know, when we've had that recent event with the wine guy, forgotten his name, but he, you know, is talking about where these wines are from. Someone would really like an Italian wine or a French wine, but ultimately you can like them all.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm sure a lot of the influence on the New World cigars being more popular are like the younger generation that are more interested in perhaps the story. You know, we're talking about the families, we've talked about Jose, we've talked about the story behind how these brands come about and the history, and that they're family-owned brands. So they're really quite into the story, they might be really into the bands. You know, then it's not so fixated on one or the other. But yeah, like I said, this time round that cigar has just flown, and it's a very popular cigar, but it's exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think people's tastes evolve as well.
Yeah, of course.
And it's good to have a change sometimes, because when I first started here, I was pretty much Cuban or nothing. I was very similar to that.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd definitely give New Worlds a go, but I couldn't understand the flavour profiles, and I felt like it was a bit too much. But then you learn to appreciate it, you know, what goes on behind the blend and the flavour profile there, and the strength, and you know, why they're using a specific type of wrapper or a filler or binder, and that just, you know, it really stands out, and it makes people want to try more. Yeah. And that's the most important thing about it, is you know, going out there and trying different things. You may find a cigar that you hate, you may find one that you absolutely love, you know, and I've certainly found both. Yeah, and I think that's what's great about cigar events, because you pay to come and try a different cigar that you perhaps wouldn't pick up. Yeah. But I think with My Father, you're getting the best of both worlds. You know, he was born in Cuba, he learned all of the Cuban techniques and how they done everything, and he's taken that, moved to Nicaragua and done the same thing, but obviously just use a Nicaraguan soil. And obviously there'll be an element of a slight different, you know, method perhaps, but ultimately it's the same, just different. Yeah. I mean, I think in that case it's best that we sit back and enjoy the rest of the cigars. But as always, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Thank you. And hear from your knowledge. And if you guys want to check out the blends, the links will be in the description below. Subscribe and like the video. And until next time, stay safe and happy earthing. Peace.